How's everybody doing? They feeling good? You feeling good about what just transpired? Look, if you know television, and I've watched a lot of series finales, they almost always disappoint. Game of Thrones is really no different. I don't know what you were expecting. I don't know if you. I mean, look, I'm not going to sign a petition. 500,000 people signed a petition to get them to change it. Now, I think HBO would actually listen to that petition, mainly because HBO doesn't have any shows left. They have Westworld that's not coming out till next year. That's really the only show that's bringing any viewers in. In fact, I bet millions upon millions upon millions of people are canceling their HBO subscriptions right now. In regards to Game of Thrones, look, I mean, it ended. Now you want to blame the writers. You want to say they were coming off on a blank slate. Like George R. R. Martin wasn't there to guide them in this last season, except for the fact that that's this dude's life work, his blood's work. He has been doing this and writing this. This is the one thing he's known for. You think he's not going to want them to end it the way he wants them to end it? Believe me, he wants them to end it the way he wants them to end it. And how that ended is most likely how George R. R. Martin intended it to end. So you can get mad at the writers, the same writers that have been around since the show's beginning. You can get mad at them, but let's get mad at everyone. Because, to be honest, how are you supposed to end a show with that much hype? How are you supposed to end a show with that much hype? I want you to sit there and determine what ending you felt should have been the ending of that show. Is it better than what was come up with? Probably. But they ended it like, I mean, I guess how I guess the best ending for everyone. An ending where the main characters that you didn't want to see die didn't die. Well, I mean, maybe not the Khaleesi. And by the way, if you named your daughter Khaleesi and are having regrets, I was named after a TV show character. My son was named after a movie character. Occasionally, people are named after characters from TV and movies. That don't mean you have to be disappointed when they turn heel, like what Khaleesi did. You don't have to change your kid's name. But the TV character I was named after didn't burn an entire city. So, I mean, take the good with the bad. But Danny had to die to, based on the last episode, Danny had to die. Now, I thought the way it was handled was pretty good, far better than the fate that Cersei and Jamie Lannister had. I thought that it was a terrible, terrible ending for those characters. Um, they had a lot of different ways that they could go. Definitely a lot more vengeful ways they could have went, and just for them to be kind of crushed by bricks was disappointing. So the Danny's end at the hands of Jon Snow, I thought it would be Arya myself, but is not. I mean, it was a pretty good ending to her. After this last episode, to her, she didn't even get to sit on the chair. No one got to sit on the chair. That's another thing. If you're making a bet, there's a lot of money in Vegas of who is going to take the Iron Throne. Does it count if no one ever sits down on the Iron Throne? I'm curious about that because she never even sat down. No one sat down. It was burned, and then the dragon took her away, never to be seen again. Now, I thought someone would kill the dragon. I thought Arya would come flying in, kind of like she did with the Night King, and take care of business. Didn't happen. The Jon Snow killing Danny was probably, I mean, I guess was it the best way it could have went? No, probably not. But was it for the show the best way for it to be handled? Yeah, that's fine. Now, Grey Worm was more angry at Tyrion and at Jon Snow than he seemed to be at the people that actually killed his girlfriend. Like, isn't that odd? Like, he really held a like. Don't get me wrong, he was still mad and vengeful to those people, but he really held a grudge. But all right, hold on. Jon and Aemon Targaryen both had the same story. They both refused the woman they loved, the crown, and both end up with the Night's Watch. Yeah, so Jon, exactly right. So Jon got demoted. He got demoted back to his regular work. And really, he abandoned that immediately. He ended up going up north with the wildlings. I think that was the impression that was given at the end of the episode. And they put that big budget. Everybody was all mad that Jon kind of gave the direwolf away. Well, they put that $25 million or whatever absurd amount of money it was for him to pet that dog. They got that in the finale for all of you. So, but yeah, exactly right. So it wasn't even that he refused. It's that she turned into a monster, really. And he loved her, but she became a monster, and he had to take care of it. And he knew that Tyrion was right. And he took care of business. So, you can't be upset about at least the way that Jon handled things. Now, can you be upset at the way the show handled things? In terms of that, I thought there would be a little bit more to, like, after, like, the aftermath of then Jon, killing her, something, Grey Worm or someone finding out. I thought there'd be a little bit more there. I didn't think there'd be as much diplomacy, where they kind of all just sat together and they're like, well, it's okay. They let the prisoner speak and count his, you basically put himself, like, not even on the mercy of the court, but put himself out there to plead his case. But then he goes and he picks Bran. Now, for me personally, I have a crusade against Bran Stark. I thought he was useless almost the entire show. Basically useless, other than in the Battle of Winterfell when he changed into the Three-Eyed Raven to transition. So you could see the Raiders were trying to determine how to get from ground to the air. And they were going, we'll just put him into a bird and go up there, because he didn't do anything to help anyone. And tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that he helped someone. Because he didn't. He was very tight-lipped about the information. Sure, he's the one that knew about Jon Snow and, his birthright. But in the end, now that it's the end, did that even matter? Sure, it drove the story along, and there were some certain things of, where he had to kill Dany because she basically was going to kill him because it was a threat to her. But beyond that, what did Bran do to help anyone? Tell me. Please, someone tell me. Ruined Hodor's life. Yeah, sure. Right out of the gate gets pushed out of a window. Look, that's upsetting. That's not his fault. But, made his way across, Tyrion painted that big thing where he made his way across the north. Well, he had a lot of help. He didn't just do it himself. So yeah, and he changed into the bird, and he knows all the history, but he doesn't mention the history to anyone. He knows it, but he never sits down. Sure, he sat down with Tyrion, and that one scene by the fire could have been very interesting. We heard none of it. So what has he done? Of the course of the show, of what you've seen of Bran, what did he do that he's worthy of being the king? What? Nothing. I'm sorry. I said I have a crusade against him the entire time, so I'm not thrilled that they made him the king. I get that he's turned into this other thing, but he's just smug. He doesn't tell anyone anything. And he doesn't really offer any help, even when he has the ability to offer help. He offers no help. I was told to please say hi, Capita. I hope I pronounced that right. Hi, Capita. But yeah, he has not offered anyone help. at all. At all. And he's supposed to be the all-knowing. He knows everything. He arguably knew that Dany was going to come in and destroy King's Landing. Knew it. Didn't say a word. Didn't say one word. Why? You're welcome. Why? Because he knew that he was going to end up king. Now think about that. He knew he was going to end up king. Like he said, that's why he made the trip. That's why he made the trip. That means he knew that Dany was going to burn down King's Landing. He knew that Jon Snow would kill her. He knew all of these things. So those millions of people that were burned to death in King's Landing, Bran knew and went, nothing. Didn't help him at all. Now think about that. Is he supposed to be good? Is he supposed to be the all good one of it when he knew and said nothing? Now, I put it out to you. What's your better ending? You tell me, leave a message in the comments how you could have ended this show better. In fact, I'll put it to you right in the thing. I will put it to you in the context of Dany's on the wall with the dragon. The bells ring. As a writer, from that point on, how do you finish this story? And, it doesn't have to be some long, in-depth thing. This is just out of curiosity. How would you end this? Would you end it, with Dany taking over, her and Jon Snow being together, everyone living, kind of some tension between her and Sansa? That's not a great ending. But, is that how you would it without her turning? If she doesn't turn bad, how do you end that story? Now, give me one moment. While you're thinking about it, I made a solid interpretation. Actually, let's see. Is the ending that horrible? Is that? Yes. It's all TV show endings are bad. I put it on the scale of Dexter. I don't know how many people watch Dexter. Dexter's a great show and had the worst TV finale of all time. Game of Thrones is not the worst TV finale of all time. That's left to Dexter. But it's not great. It's in the middle. It's low to middle. They had a lot of things that they had to take care of. And while they did wrap up those things, whether they wrapped them up in the best way or not, it's hard to say. But I'm going to give you one small little interlude. I'm going to recreate right here the Battle of Winterfell while you're thinking about how you're going to end this. Give me one moment, and then the battle will commence. And then after it's done, you tell me how you would end this show. Hold on. How do you end the show? Did you see that Battle of Winterfell? That's exactly what the Battle of Winterfell looked like for me. I don't know if you guys watched it. I could barely see anything. No, I had the lights on. I was told you're not supposed to have the lights on when you're watching it, but they put a ton of money and a ton of work into the Battle of Winterfell. You couldn't see it at all. It was barely able to be seen. Now, sure, it got the point across, but it could have been better. The last few episodes, especially where Dany burned everyone down, you could see them just fine. So there was no excuse for the Battle of Winterfell. I know people were defending it, but I don't. It was terrible. But back to this finale. Everybody kind of, they agreed. Everybody became very diplomatic at the end. Sansa becomes Queen of the North. Tyrion becomes a hand he doesn't want. Bran becomes a king he doesn't want, and Bran sucks. Arya goes to Westworld. I assume she's going to the end of the map. They always said they'd have a Game of Thrones Westworld crossover. characters in Westworld, when they go to the end of the map, basically it drops off. I assume that's going to be the same. Maybe this is the Westworld Game of Thrones crossover they're talking about. Very unlikely, but I would be curious about that, actually. Jon, gets banished to Castle Black, but really he gets to go exactly where he wanted to go in the first place. He can't take a wife or have a kid or anything, but I mean, what does he care at that point? Everybody he loved at one point ended up dead, so it doesn't benefit him to do that. I thought they were going to do a spinoff with Tormund and the Direwolf solving crimes all over Westeros. I guess you could put Jon Snow in that too. I'm fine with that. Now, HBO is screwed. They have nothing after Game of Thrones. Nothing. You see the promos for these terrible shows that they're putting on? None of them look good. In fact, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, everybody has to be canceling their HBO subscription tonight. I'm probably going to do it because they're ending Barry on the same night. Perfect. So, yeah, I'm probably going to do it right after this. But I want you to let me know in the comments. Give me a better ending of Game of Thrones. For me, it wasn't a great series finale. It wasn't a good series finale, but it wasn't the worst series finale I've ever seen. Once again, that's Dexter. But they handled it in a way that I feel that George R.R. Martin, who has say in how he wanted this to end, wanted this to end. I'm just leaving in the comments. Yes, Band of Brothers was one of the greatest miniseries that HBO has ever done. Unfortunately, it was only one 10-part season. They did the Pacific, which wasn't as good, but Band of Brothers was terrific. But you let me know. I want you to let me know. Was this the finale you hoped? I mean, I assume it's not the finale you hoped. 500,000 of you signed a petition saying you wanted to completely redo the season. But was it the finale that you hoped? Was it everything that you thought it would be? For me, it left a lot to be desired. Did they wrap it up? Sure. Did Dany have to die? Absolutely. But that was only based on the last episode. For me, I would have picked Sansa, Lady Sansa, as the queen. But when the dragon burned the throne, it became useless at this point. Like, there wasn't a point to it almost. The whole hook was that the Game of Thrones. Who's going to take the Iron Throne? Who's going to be the one to be on the Iron Throne? What did it end up being? It ended up being no one sat on the Iron Throne. No one of the newer people that were to sit on it, of the people remaining, no one got a chance to sit on the seat. So, unfortunately, that really doesn't solve anything. Now, sure, Bran has his own seat, not the Iron Throne, and he's someone. He's a king, I assume. Seemed rather useless in that meeting at the end. It seems that he's just there as a figurehead, and everybody else is handling all the business. He comes in, spins a couple little ditties, they roll him out of there, and then they actually take care of the actual business of the running the kingdom, which maybe that's every king that's done. But I want to know, and I'm going to wrap it up here, how you would end this show. If you're the person that wants to completely redo it, say you're that person, how do you end this show? Do you end it? Can you end it and appease everyone or most people? I don't think you can. But if you can, leave a comment. Let me know. Thank you for all the people that were watching live. I don't do these too much. I'm kind of experimenting with them. So I appreciate you watching live and leaving comments where you could. Thanks for watching. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I want to know how you ended it. Thanks again. Bye, guys.